All right, I just got back from seeing Crawl. This was a movie that kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest, for me. I didn't know of its existence until a couple months ago, and it was like it's being released in the theater, and it's a Killer Gator movie, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. How have I not heard of anything on this at all? But all right, sure, why not? And then very recently, in the last couple days, I found out Alexander Aja had directed it, which I'm a big fan of. The Hills Have Eyes, the remake that he did, and Piranha, and I was like immediately shot it up my anticipation list. And so I went into it blind. I avoided all trailers. The only thing I knew was that it was a Killer Gator movie and that it was set in a storm of some sort. I didn't know anything else, didn't watch any trailers, and man, I'm telling you guys, going into movies blind, avoiding trailers is just the way to go. I don't know what they gave away. Still haven't watched the trailer. Don't know. Don't care. I'm so happy that I didn't watch it, as I always am. So, the premise of this movie is that there is a young lady, and she goes to check on her father, who is in the middle of a hurricane. And she wants to make sure that he's okay and that she can get him out safe. And unfortunately, her and her father get trapped in a house with a bunch of killer gators. Now, I feel like the premise might sound silly, but I'll tell you, okay, this movie has so much going for it. And I will outright tell you up front, I loved this movie. Holy shit, this is a wild ride. This is a fun time. This just gets right to it. And once the gator action starts, I am telling you, there is not a moment that isn't filled with tension from that point on until the very end. I mean, till the closing credits. It is just tense and action-packed and terrifying and the best Killer Croc alligator movie I've ever seen. And I just went back and rewatched my favorites, which was Black Water, which I think is great, and Rogue. I also watched Eaten Alive, Tobe Hooper's movie made right after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I'm going to talk about on the podcast here soon, which was very odd. And then a movie called Primeval, which I really enjoyed, and a lot of people hate it. But those are the four I just recently knocked out. But I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, that this is the cream of the crop when it comes to killer gator movies, and one of the best, animal horror movies, or whatever you want to call it, creature features. It's not really, I don't really count these as creature features, but I guess that's what they are. For me, a creature is like the creature of the Black Lagoon. It's like a fucking mythological creature. So, I don't know. I know they're technically called that. For me, they're just like animal horror, like real animals that actually exist. And that's just it, too. I think that's what's so cool about this movie. God, I have so many things to say about it. But one thing is that they never like over-exaggerate the gators in the movie. It's never like, oh, there's a 25-foot mutated gator. It's real, normal alligators. And they're just like, alligators and crocodiles are so terrifying on their own that I don't need it to be 25 fucking feet to be scary to me. It's like the gator itself as it is terrifying enough. And in this movie, I'll tell you this too. And, yes, this is a bigger budget one and it's newer. So, I mean, of course, but the gator effects, the effects in this movie on the alligators is top notch. There was not a silly moment in the movie of anything when it came to the effects. It looked like real gators the entire movie. And it just added to the tension, because there was never a moment. When I watched Rogue recently, or Primeval, or whatever, there's a lot of really dodgy CGI, and it just takes you out of the moment. It's like, it's not real. This felt real the entire movie. Now, here's another great thing this movie has going for it. This movie is a killer alligator movie and a disaster movie wrapped up in one. So if you're a big fan of disaster movies, like a flood, hurricane type movie, this has got that. and then you throw alligators in the mix. And another thing I want to praise this movie for. Now, when I talk about horror with people, they'll always say, well, horror movies have to have stupid characters, otherwise there'd be no movie. And I've always argued against that. Bullshit, not true. You just have to put your characters in situations that are impossible. You have to make the antagonist smarter than the protagonist, and no matter how smart this character can be, no matter how many times they try this, and that, the plot or the antagonist is just smarter. And in this movie, the gators aren't smart, but the writers are. Because every time that something happens, and I'm telling you guys, this never lets up. I mean, it's everything's thrown at you but the kitchen sink, and that probably got thrown here too. But I do think it'll lose some people because they'll think this is just too much. There's just too much happening. It's too much, like everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, but it never felt forced to me. It felt natural. It felt like it fit for like everything that was happening in it. I never really critiqued any character for a dumb decision. It was like they were trapped in an absolutely impossible situation, and it was everything they could have tried to do just failed. But it didn't fail off their stupidity. It just failed because things would happen that would not allow them to succeed. And none of it felt forced or like, oh God, here we go. It was just like, yes, I mean, it's coincidences after coincidences, but, you know, when it rains, it pours. Ha ha ha, pun for the movie. But it's true. This movie really packs it on, and it does it in such a smart and effective way. And other things about this movie, I mean, I thought that the dad and the daughter relationship, this movie really sets a good pace from the beginning. Like it gets to the character development in the first like 10 minutes. And it really does a good job of fleshing out. It gives you everything you need. And then throughout the movie, there's little moments where they kind of readdress that character development and get you more invested in these characters, to the point where at the end, I was like, please let these people get out of this. I wanted so badly, because they just went through such hell. It would have been so devastating to see them perish. And, you know, I'm not going to say if they do or don't, but I was just like white knuckling, like, oh my God, I really care about these people. I really want to see them survive this. And so, as you know, the movie is so well paced. Holy shit, man. I felt like this movie was like 30 minutes long. When like once it starts, it's just boom, 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 boom. Everything's happening. But it's so well paced. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It's just one after the other, and you're just fucking like, oh my God, I saw this with a buddy of mine. I don't really jump. That's just, I don't know. I guess I'm dead inside when it comes to that. But it got him a few times, and everyone in the theater was like, holy shit. Like, the jump scares worked. But it doesn't rely on them by any means. The situation is terrifying enough. And I thought the performances here, Kyla Scarladini, or however the fucking hell you say this girl's name, did a fantastic job. I thought she was great in this. Barry Pepper, holy shit, when's the last time I saw Barry Pepper in anything? He was a big deal for a minute and then kind of just vanished, but I thought he was great in this. And those are your two main characters, and then everyone else is kind of just, throwaway meat for the gators. I keep wanting to say crocs because like every movie I've watched besides this week has been crocodile, so I keep mixing that up. But God, man, what a fun time this movie was. And the gore, the kills, I could have used a little more gore, but the kills are brutal, man. These people get munched, and it's always fun. The whole movie is just a fun time. Everyone in the theater had a great time. I could just tell the energy in there was really high. I haven't spoken to a single person whose opinion I respect and talk with on a regular basis who saw this who didn't love it as well. Like, we're all just like, this movie's fucking rad. This is like that summer fun movie. Go to the theater with your friends and you just have a good damn time watching some gators chomp on people. But as I said, it's not stupid. It's not mindless. It's not like these characters are throwaway and there's a bunch of dumb people getting bitten and eaten by crocs. Because, you know, Piranha was like that. As much as I love Piranha, the characters are dumb. It's a very silly movie. It's very playful. It's almost not slapsticky, but not far off. Like Jerry O'Connell's character and whatnot. It's just a silly ass movie. This movie isn't like that. This movie is much more serious, but fun serious, if that makes sense. I really bought into everything, and it really is. You think every time you think like that's got to be it, right? Like that's it for this. They can't deal with any more. More happens, and then you're like, that's it. There can't be any more. And then more and more and more happens. And you're just like, fucking Christ. These people have went through so much. That's why I'm saying towards the end, you're like, please don't fucking die. Oh man. What a fucking great time at the theater. Both me and Tony had such a blast. We just sat out in the theater just gushing about it. So 2 big fucking thumbs up. A movie I hope kills in the box office. I hope a lot of people go out and see this because it's such a damn good movie, and I hope it gets the support it deserves. Yeah, easily the best one of these kinds of movies. So let me know what you guys thought. You know what I thought now. So I hope this movie I hope this movie is successful. It's like you see this kind of stuff, and I really hope it's just not ignored. Fingers crossed. Check it out. Adios.